The silence was absolute. Not the peaceful kind of silence I sometimes chose when I took my hearing aids out at night. This was the violent silence that comes after destruction. After my father's foot came down on $6,000 worth of medical equipment while my mother laughed. It started with my brother Marcus calling my name from downstairs. He needed help with his college essay, apparently. The same essay he'd been procrastinating on for 3 weeks while playing video games. I was in my room, hearing aids in, working on my own thesis for my master's degree in biomedical engineering. I had music playing softly, just loud enough to focus, not loud enough to miss important sounds. Except I did miss Marcus calling. 3 times, apparently. By the time he stormed into my room, face red with entitled rage, I was deep in calculating protein folding patterns for my research. He yanked my laptop away, screaming something I could only partially catch. Ignoring me? Selfish. Mom. That's when our parents appeared. I saw their mouths moving rapidly, angrily. Dad's face was purple. Mom's arms were crossed in that way that meant I was already guilty of whatever they decided. I pointed to my ears, to my hearing aids. I couldn't hear. Dad ripped them out, both of them, yanked them right from my ears so hard it hurt. Then he threw them on the floor and stomped. The crack was probably loud. I couldn't hear it, but I felt it in my chest. $6,000 of custom-programmed hearing aids, calibrated specifically for my frequency of hearing loss, shattered under his heel. Maybe now we go PA-AT-NTY-on, he screamed. I could read his lips. 23 years of being deaf had made me excellent at that. Mom picked up a piece of the destroyed aids, examining it like it was a toy. Selective hearing cured, she laughed, tossing it back on the ground. Marcus smirked, satisfied. He'd gotten what he wanted, their attention, my humiliation, the confirmation that his needs mattered more than my ability to hear. They left me there, on my knees, gathering the pieces of the devices that connected me to the world. My hands shook as I collected fragments of plastic and circuitry. The right aid was in 3 pieces, the left was powder and components. I was 11 when I lost my hearing, meningitis. The doctor said I was lucky to survive, luckier still to have any residual hearing at all. My parents said I was difficult, that my deafness was an attention-seeking phase I'd grow out of. They bought me the cheapest hearing aids they could find, complained about the cost constantly, and told everyone I was practically normal with them. They never learned sign language, never made accommodations, never understood that hearing aids aren't like glasses. They don't restore normal hearing, just assist what little remains. These aids, the ones now destroyed on my bedroom floor, I'd bought myself. 2 years of saving every penny from my research assistant position. 2 years of choosing between groceries and payment plans. 2 years of sacrifice so I could fully participate in my education, my work, my life. Gone, because Marcus couldn't walk upstairs to ask for help. I sat in that violent silence for hours. No way to call anyone. Phone calls were impossible without my aids. No money for replacements. I depleted my savings on these. No family who understood that they just severed my connection to the world. But I had something they didn't expect. I had a webcam that had been recording the entire incident. See, I'd been recording my thesis defense practice sessions. The camera was positioned perfectly to capture my desk area, and the space where my father had destroyed my aids. Every second of their cruelty was preserved in 4K resolution. I also had documentation, so much documentation. Medical records showing my hearing loss was profound, not selective. Bank statements showing the payment plans for the aids. Text messages where I begged them to learn basic signs for emergencies. Their responses telling me to stop being dramatic and just listen harder. The first person I contacted, through email, the only communication method left to me, was my advisor, Dr. Elizabeth Chang. She was furious, not disappointed, not concerned, volcanic fury. She arrived at my house within an hour with a police officer and a social worker. I was 25, legally an adult, but what my parents had done constituted destruction of medical equipment and, according to the officer, assault. Hearing aids are medical devices, the officer explained to my stunned parents. Destroying them is a crime, like breaking someone's wheelchair or hiding their insulin. She wasn't listening. Mom protested. She was ignoring Marcus. Dr. Chang, bless her, had learned sign language when I joined her lab. She signed to me while speaking to them. She has documented hearing loss. You destroyed medical equipment worth thousands of dollars. This is felony destruction of property. They were arrested that night. Marcus watched, slack-jawed, as his essay apparently wasn't important enough to prevent handcuffs. But that was just the beginning. What my family didn't know was that I'd been more than just a research assistant. My work on biocompatible materials for cochlear implants had caught the attention of several biotech companies. I'd been keeping it quiet, not wanting to deal with my family's sudden interest if they knew about the job offers. The morning after their arrest, I accepted a position with Resonance Biotech. Signing bonus, $50,000. Starting salary, $120,000. First project, developing better, more affordable hearing assistance devices. I used the signing bonus to move out immediately and buy new aids. Better ones with Bluetooth connectivity and environmental sound processing. The old ones had been good, but these were extraordinary. My parents bailed out the next day, expecting to come home and resume their lives. Instead, they found an empty room and a restraining order. The video of them destroying my aids had gone viral in the deaf community. #Hearing Guides are Optional was trending. Their faces were everywhere. Marcus's college essay, the one so important it justified destroying my ability to hear, was due that week. Without me to help, he submitted garbage. He was rejected from every school he applied to. His fallback? Community college while living at home with parents who were now pariahs. The trial was swift. The video evidence was undeniable. My medical records proved the necessity of the aids. The bank records showed their value. My parents were convicted of assault and destruction of property. The judge, who had a deaf grandson, was particularly unsympathetic. "You didn't just break a device," she said at sentencing. "You broke your daughter's connection to the world. You isolated her, mocked her disability, and showed cruel indifference to her medical needs." They were sentenced to 2 years probation, mandatory disability awareness training, and ordered to pay restitution. $6,000 for the aids plus damages. Total, $15,000. They didn't have it. They'd spent everything on Marcus's gaming setup and failed business ventures. They had to sell their car, take out loans, beg relatives for money. The relatives, who'd seen the video, weren't generous. But the real revenge came from my work. Within a year, my team at Resonance developed a revolutionary hearing aid design. Cheaper to manufacture, better sound quality, more accessible to low-income patients. We called it the Phoenix line, rising from destruction. I insisted on one thing. The launch event would include a free clinic for deaf and hard of hearing children. Hundreds of families came. We fitted kids with aids they couldn't otherwise afford. I saw myself in every child who heard their parents' voice clearly for the first time. My parents saw it on the news. They tried to attend, to take credit for their inspiring daughter. Security, briefed with their photos, turned them away. They sent letters through lawyers, how proud they were, how they'd always supported my career, how families should stick together. I responded once. "I couldn't hear you. Remember? Selective hearing." The Phoenix line was a massive success. My royalties from the patent meant I'd never worry about affording hearing aids again. Neither would thousands of others who benefited from our affordable design. I bought a house in a different state, started a scholarship fund for deaf students in STEM, gave talks about overcoming not just disability, but family who see your medical needs as inconvenience. Marcus reached out once years later, still living at home at 28, still blaming everyone else for his failures. He needed money, he said. His parents couldn't help anymore. They were broke from legal fees and restitution payments. "Can't hear you," I typed back. Must be that selective hearing. Then I blocked him. The last update I got was from a cousin. My parents work minimum wage jobs now, all their savings gone. They tell people their daughter is a successful biomedical engineer, leaving out why we don't speak. Marcus still lives in their basement, still gaming, still waiting for life to hand him what he thinks he deserves. Meanwhile, I wake up every morning, putting my Phoenix hearing aids, the ones I developed, manufactured, and can afford, and go to work creating accessibility for others. My team is mostly deaf and hard of hearing engineers. We communicate in sign, speech, and text. Everyone is heard, everyone matters. My office wall has a photo from our first free clinic. Hundreds of beaming kids wearing Phoenix aids. In the corner, barely visible, is a small frame containing fragments of my destroyed aids. the ones my father crushed. From destruction, innovation, the plaque reads, "They thought breaking my aids would silence me. Instead, it amplified my voice, gave me purpose, drove me to ensure no other deaf person would stand helpless while family destroyed their lifeline. They had no idea what I would do next. I gave thousands of people what they tried to take from me, the ability to connect with the world. The silence after they broke my aids was deafening, but the sound of children hearing clearly for the first time, that's the sweetest revenge of all. My parents smashed my hearing aids because I didn't hear my brother calling. In return, I made sure thousands of others would never have to choose between poverty and hearing. I'd say we're even, but we're not. I came out ahead.